So basically last year, Double Fine decided to open up a Kickstarter in order to crowdsource a project that they really wanted to work on. They'd been hit by hard times a couple of years ago due to a bunch of projects that they knew they had public support on, but didn't have publisher support on. Wanting to cut out the middleman, they resorted to a website called Kickstarter in order to get the crowd that they knew was there to fund their projects. So, long story short, the people are finally getting what they want. However, Kickstarter as a result has become the poster child of crowdsourced projects, and there are hundreds of people, maybe even millions, now signing up to it in order to get their own dream project started. And this is kind of a problem. The fact that anyone can sign up for Kickstarter means that any bum can come off the street and put up whatever the fuck they want on there. Now, we here at Cheshire Cat Studios feel that this is a really important topic to discuss. So, we'd like 150 grand so that we can make a five-part series lasting 20 minutes explaining exactly what is wrong with Kickstarter. You can find us on our Kickstarter page right here. So, I think what I'm really trying to say is, how far have we gone with this shit? Is it really that good? Is it really that bad? And I'm opening up the floor to you guys, and I'll jump in where I feel necessary.
Well, that's kind of the beauty of Kickstarter and just the internet as a whole, is that it is virtual Darwinism. I mean, a good idea will, rise to the top while other bad ideas will, fall to the wayside and not get funded.
However, we still have the problem of really bad ideas still making at least 3 times the original goal that they set out to make.
Yes, precisely. I mean, an example I found just earlier today was basically there's this guy from what I can understand, he's a designer. He wants to design t-shirts, which is a fine idea in itself, but the thing is, he's soliciting money so that he can put his honestly ugly designs on t-shirts. And originally he solicited something like $500, and you could say, like, if the people want it, why not? Sure, but somehow he ended up getting $1,500 for this, and it would be great if the designs were actually somewhat good, but they're as simplistic as it gets. And before any of the viewers start furiously typing, "Oh, I don't see you doing any better," I present to you this.
Perfect.
That was beautifully timed.
All you need now is like a fucking guy on a stepladder fucking a giraffe, and you're like completely
straight there with the Resi 6 poster. Here's the crazy thing about t-shirts. I mean, a lot of people forget the reason. There are mainly 2 reasons why people go into the t-shirt industry, or 3. The first reason is merchandising. You're trying to get a certain brand across, and therefore you will create t-shirts in order to create more money for that brand. The second way is fundraising. A lot of the reasons that websites like Extra Credits and, that guy with the glasses even, have shirts and stuff, is so that they can create extra revenue for the projects that they've already got, so they can keep doing what they're doing. Fair enough, it's what they do, people pay for it, fine. And obviously there's the final reason for it, which is genuine fashion, which is the fact that people actually go in and do it in order to present a new fashion brand. And that normally costs, a lot of money for people who have worked for years and years and years in a genuine design company to actually get out there and get their shit recognized. Now, you come to this guy on Kickstarter, he's made his, is it like $1,500?
Yeah, $1,500.
Okay, $1,500. And, what's he gonna do now? He maybe will get a few shirts out there and spend all that money on hookers and what?
Cocaine.
Where does he go next in his, infinite wisdom?
You're being too charitable.
Huh?
I said you're being too charitable because most likely he'll just buy a bunch of video games and phony figurines, and that's all. No hookers, no cocaine, nothing that any normal person would do.
Nothing fun.
That's a really good point that was brought up the other day. I was reading a thing where this guy was talking about issues with Kickstarter because he wanted to set up funds for his company, and he then made a big complaint about, big mistake, if you sign up with Kickstarter, you still need to raise your own funds elsewhere in order to get the project going. And at first I thought, well, actually, that's a really, valid argument, the fact that Kickstarter doesn't provide any extra help. But then I realized the only reason he was arguing was because this was work that he should have known as a company he would have to do this on his own. This is why, incidentally, Double Fine have been so good, because Double Fine have already had experience in the industry, already have ties in terms of that to publishing rights for themselves and distribution, etc. And have already paid for all that. They were only asking, money so that they could do all the extra bits to get the game made. And this guy had just completely ignored all of that, had gone in completely blind, and then gone, oh, well, actually, that's not really enough, is it? And it's like, of course it's not fucking enough. People don't understand the scope of how to run a business, how to manage one. And Kickstarter, as proven, is not the stable way of going about doing that.
Yeah.
Well, it's this idea that throwing money at the problem legitimizes it, and it doesn't legitimize the problem.
It doesn't, and it shouldn't, because the beauty of Kickstarter is that they act as a stepping stone for aspiring filmmakers, game developers, whatever, just creative persons in general, who need funding they would otherwise not receive from publishers because, you know, they're so obscure, they're nobodies in the industry. However, in this case, they're cutting out the middleman, they're going straight to the consumers and asking, do you think this is a good idea? If so, you're more than welcome to add some donations and, you know, this game or this movie will become a reality. But you shouldn't make Kickstarter, in my opinion at least, your main source of revenue, because it's
unsustainable.
It's unsustainable. It's not a proper business model.
It becomes e-begging very quickly.
Yes, it becomes e-begging very quickly. And again, with the guy with the t-shirts, if he made this as a stepping stone to fund his own designer company or something, or maybe even like, there are smaller shops out there who like print stuff on t-shirts, on mugs, etc. You know, I could understand that. He's trying to start a proper business. But instead, he just decided on a whim that, you know, I'm gonna make a Kickstarter page because I want to put a picture of my cat on a t-shirt. It's like, why do you really need a Kickstarter for this? I mean, how is this an idea that deserves to thrive whilst others perish with no funding?
And it's even weirder that, you know, there were people who wanted to put forward that amount of money to it, although for all we know, he could have forwarded that money to himself.
Well, in that case, he's extremely rich, he's extremely bored, and he's extremely stupid because he's not wasting
Oh, he's
money.
Batman then. I mean, sorry, not Batman. It's the stupid part. Doesn't quite.
No, he would be Captain Sunshine in that case. He wants to put Wonder Boy in those t-shirts and nothing else.
Shouldn't I be wearing some pants? No, they're perfect.
Slumber party!
Unfortunately,
It's not just some nobodies who want pictures of giraffes on their t-shirts who are starting to use, or rather abuse, Kickstarter. Nowadays, we also have multi-billion publishers basically e-bagging people for money that they already have.
I'd forgotten about this.
I didn't. It's been a source of my ire for a while.
I mean, do they not see the irony of, oh, well, you know, we want funding to produce indie games, but by default of being published by you, they're not independent.
Well, I mean, you guys heard about what happened with Obsidian, right?
Yeah.
No, go on.
Oh.
Just for the benefit of the doubt, explain.
According to Obsidian Entertainment, the developer behind the Kickstarter smash success Project Eternity, publishers approached the developer prior to the Kickstarter, asking them to crowdfund on their behalf.
Because that's how publishing works.
Do they really not understand? If you wrote this down to them and drew a diagram, would they still not be able to see how backwards this was?
Oh shit. I mean, the Obsidian CEO actually said on his Kickstarter page that they were actually contacted by many publishers over the last few months that they wanted Obsidian to use Kickstarter. And the guy's like, you want us to do a Kickstarter using our name, and then we get the Kickstarter money to make the game, and then you publish the game, but then we don't get to keep the brand we make, and we only get a portion of the profits. And they said yes.
Oh god, that doesn't make any sense.
I really wish that the CEO would actually name names, because this is absolutely despicable on every fucking level. I understand that publishing is a game and putting it out on the store shelves is, you know, requires a hefty investment, but it's literally predatory business tactics.
It is.
And it's like, oh, we don't want to fund the development of your own game, but we do want to publish it and retain the majority of the profits.
But what's really despicable is that Kickstarter should know this. And actually, I discovered this. This is probably the reason Kickstarter hasn't disallowed that. It says that Kickstarter does not provide reasons for the 25% of applicants they turn down, most likely due to being able to sue over, you know, what they'd be deemed illogical reasoning. But I can say this, the projects that they do approve are certainly those that will allow for profitability, because Kickstarter, after all, picks up 5% of the fees collected at the end of the day. That is the only reason I can guarantee that that project went through on Kickstarter. And I do think that that is quite manipulative and a little bit despicable. I think Kickstarter, you know, they have done some good stuff, and if they really want to keep their reputation, they need to start screening shit like this properly, and not just saying, well, that'll make us some money back, so we better keep that, you know, going, because obviously we'll keep our site alive. Doesn't work that way, Kickstarter. I could go up and set my own website where I get people to fund my own stuff. I don't need you to do that, and you're in danger of losing your credibility as a result.
Well, the sad thing is that some other publishers have also adapted a similar approach without necessarily using Kickstarter. I mean, just look at Activision, of all things,
God damn.
soliciting money for Call of Duty.
For indie games.
Was it indie? I thought.
No, for fucking Call of Duty Ghosts.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, one of their fucking AAA titles, and they're like, oh, we want you to pre-order this, and so you can help with the game development, because it's like, hey, I make $1 million budget games, and now we need you, the fans, to send us your money early. This means that you'll get a copy right when the game launches, and bypass those nasty little things like game reviews and concrete release dates. It works so well for fucking 2001 pre-orders of Duke Nukem Forever, right?
I mean, this is freaking Call of Duty. They have the budget to make it, and more importantly, it's gonna sell millions because it's freaking Call of Duty.
However, it could be a sign that maybe something is wrong, which I don't know. That could be a victory, so, especially after the abysmal Xbox One conference, which was Call of Dogs.
But I mean, not even THQ, the maker of Darksiders and the Saints Row series, had the balls to do this right before they went bankrupt. So
This is true. But then again, THQ, there was a lot of other shit going on in the background with them at the moment.
yeah.
By the way, on the article that you linked to us about Obsidian, there's actually another link to this, which is totally relevant, and that's the scams that have been going on in Kickstarter, which kind of leads back to what I was saying about how Kickstarter needs to really screen at what's being presented to them.
A copycat scam?
Yeah. See, this is just sort of a backup of exactly what the problem is. Like, who do we trust? You know, a project comes forward. We don't know if it's as earnest as it says it is. Double Fine was the first one I'd heard of from Kickstarter, and obviously it's an established company. They need some help. Fair enough. BronyCon the documentary, we don't know the guy's original credentials. We don't know where the money's going exactly. There's no upfront stuff about, you know, what's happening and what's going on and why it really needs to be a thing. I mean, it is a leap of faith in many ways going into Kickstarter, and they need to address that. They need to really, you know, get their shit together as to who's going on their website and affecting their credibility.
Yeah, I mean, because in the case of Double Fine or the animation studio behind The Goon,
Yes.
those guys only resorted to Kickstarter once they had no other choice. You know, the project was already in development, and then it ran out of budget, so they resorted.
And they knew they had an audience.
They knew they had an audience, and they had something to present. They had concept art, they had videos of gameplay or some clips proving that yes, we are indeed working on this, and you are bound to receive the project that you are funding. In this case, however, what's stopping some Joe Schmo going in, stealing some concept arts from various games and saying like, oh, I'm working on this awesome Deus Ex style cyberpunk game, you know, it's going to be awesome, it's going to feature this, it's going to feature that, and lots of people will, you know, give him money. What's stopping this guy from just stealing all the money and lagging it?
Exactly. Take the money and run, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do understand the Kickstarter movement, and it's a genuinely decent one. Like I said, it's online Darwinism, where good ideas have the potential to prosper without the need of external influences.
Right now, the real drawback is just the fact that anybody can go on there, and Kickstarter isn't doing its shit properly.
I know. Kickstarter project could be like, my name is Snurdly McDarkmaster. I currently work at Kinko's to pay my bills, and I've been developing a Call of Cthulhu tentacle hentai rape game on my mom's basement.
Jesus Christ.
I'd like to make it a reality, and it requires tons of funding that I can't get anywhere because there's zero chance the game will be sold on Steam or in Walmart. I need $30,000 to quit my Kinko's job and devote my left hand to programming and my right hand for product testing. Thank you.
This is what it means when we swing on your brother.
Pretty much, but let's move away from the t-shirt guy and what other points do we have?
Well, the fact that there are the masturbatory projects like BronyCon, and of course Forever Pandering made a fantastic video about just how it was completely masturbatory. You don't need to make a video about how much you love something, because that's not constructive in the same way that you don't need to make a video about how much you completely hate something, because that isn't constructive either. It's, and you know, it's a completely arse-licking, self-indulgent, navel-gazing look at something that didn't need any money thrown at it. It should have just been, if you liked it, leave it at that. You don't need to pay someone money to validate why something you like is something that you should, you know, herald as the almighty return of our Lord and Saviour. So I think that's a big problem with Kickstarter, the fact that
when you're talking about being masturbatory and not making videos about things that you dislike, I'm like, well, enough about the CCS podcast. Let's talk about Kickstarter.
Yeah, but I mean, one thing I like about what we do is that we don't pour any money into it. It's completely off our own back.
We fucking lose money on this. What are you talking about?
We do lose money on that. We lose sleep on this shit. But
No shit. We don't make a goddamn dime, which is why we're gonna start selling T-shirts, motherfuckers. So, a recent example is Obsidian Entertainment. God damn it! Let me get a drink of water. I cotton mouth real bad.
Oh god, what even was that? That was like something off of Scooby-Doo.
That was the guy fucking the giraffe on the letter.
You fucker, I was drinking water.
Hey everyone, glad you enjoyed the video. Make sure to give us a like and maybe subscribe to us if you're new here. But whoa, wait, no, that's not all. We want you to work for your pleasure. See, basically we want to see what you guys have to say in the comments. This is a pretty big topic and we really want to hear your say on it rather than just us sitting around the table talking about it. We appreciate being able to jump back and forth, and hey, maybe we'll see some of your stuff in the video if you post a little comment at the bottom. So make sure to make those comments. You may end up being a Cheshire Cat star. And as we all know, that is the most coveted prize of all. No, seriously.